board members have you look at what's next on our agenda. We're going to hear from, and I want to thank all the participants too for coming, signing up, and also for all of the emails and communications that we've been getting. So, but back to our agenda here. Next, we have our Utah Schools for the Deaf and Blind. We have our superintendent's report. Superintendent Coleman.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. It's good to be with you, board members. It looks like today we have a very short meeting, just a few minutes, and I know you have other big business to get to. So, the first item was canceled, our monthly budget report. That's due to this time of year. In August, we always cancel it because we're in between the 13th and the first pay, or not pay periods, but financial reporting periods. And so it's not possible to have the numbers solidified right now. So that was, Superintendent Scott Jones explained to us, that's why it was canceled. I didn't know, and I had to ask him. Even though that was canceled, though, there was one item from last month. If you remember, board member Scott Hansen asked us for some information, data about, in July, you approved our annual budget, which we always do in July. He asked for some information and feedback on the per student amount that it costs to educate students who are deaf and blind at USDB. And so I just wanted you to know that we've been working and preparing that information and doing a deep dive into disaggregating our data and assembling it in understandable ways. We have sent that to you. I believe it was supposed to be sent to you yesterday, just via email. Board member Hansen requested that we share that with all board members. And so we've done that, and we plan to meet with him soon to discuss his further concerns. He had suggested that we maybe look at defunding USDB and using some of the money for other priorities and so forth. So we're gonna meet with you, Scott, I believe sometime soon at your pleasure, and go through that. And it was actually a helpful exercise to us as well, so that we were able to update those numbers also. One of the things I will point out to you, though, on that matter is that each month when we do present our financial report, we have all of our sources of revenue broken down in a very detailed spreadsheet for your review. So you can always go back to your previous board document packets and review those on your own as well, in addition to what we have sent you for this request. So that's just just wanted to follow up on that item that we left last board. The next item that I have is, it was mentioned also by Susie Blackham in the public comment period, is that, and we are working on that actively, which is the teacher increases that were not funded this year, when we were pleasantly surprised by the Executive Appropriations Committee, and they tried as much as they could to hold education harmless with the 1.8% WPU increase and the growth money still. That inadvertently left USDB out, since we are not funded through the formulas that most LEAs are. I've been talking with legislative leaders and working with our LFAs, Ben Leishman and Emily Willis, and we have gotten word from them that the legislature will be considering the plight of our teachers, and I've been reassured by leaders there that it was completely unintentional, and they just didn't realize when the Executive Appropriations Committee came up with that last minute money, then it was just an oversight, and so we're hopeful that they will be able to find some money to give our teachers the increases that they deserve this year, since USDB teachers are already essentially a year behind because their pay is determined by a weighted annual salary adjustment based on what the increases are for the teachers in all the other districts in the state. And so it might be a little bit late, but we're hopeful at this point that if the legislature can find the money, they'll come up with it. And we're very sensitive to the needs of our teachers. In fact, we even reminded them all along during the process of budget cutting this spring that that was a need, and they were aware of it, but we just didn't think there would be additional money for education at all. So when that happened. Next item that I have is just a following up on something that was really, if you remember, about a year ago, there were several meetings month after month where a group of parents came in claiming that there were problems at USDB between the LSL and ASL and the way that they were treated unfairly and so forth. And we tried to work through that in good faith. Subsequently, there were about 5 or 6 due process claims filed with the special ed department at the state. And I just wanted to let you know every single one of those has been resolved. They were thoroughly investigated by third parties. And each one of those claims was found without merit. And so we've been kind of vindicated again, and we are still doing our best to be sensitive to the concerns that those are actually former parents now that aren't involved with USDB so much. We just certainly want to make sure that we serve everyone with equity, integrity, and transparency. But I thought it would be important to report back to the board, since you were part of those discussions so often, and let you know that everything has been thoroughly vetted by third-party special education professionals, and USDB is completely compliant. And then the last item I had is just kind of an update on our reopening plans, our preparation for getting back to school. Let's see, a week from Friday on the 14th, we are having our new employee orientation. And then the following Monday on the 17th, will be our, at least I think that's the date, our opening institute. And we're doing that virtually where our divisions will be gathered together in areas where they can socially distance appropriately, but still be in person. And the superintendency will be giving their opening message virtually via Zoom, and we'll start down in Springville and be able to say hi to people there, and then we'll move to Salt Lake and drop in and say hi, and then move up to August. Fortunately, we are in a very different position when it comes to social distancing and safety, as described last week when we approved our reopening plan. We have good space in our buildings and low population, so we don't have to worry too much. We can appropriately social distance. We are going through the manual that came out from the Board of Health, comparing that to the board's reopening recommendation documents, and of course, always updating things here and there and coming up with new ideas. But generally, it seems like our reopening plan is holding as pretty good there. And talking with our facilities folks who are doing a great job, we should be very well prepared with hand sanitizer, the masks, plexiglass where it's needed, and so forth. And we are already interacting with educators on a case-by-case basis, as the plan allowed for, who have significant health concerns, and we are taking care of them at this point. We're starting to see those materialize. And fortunately, our service from DHRM has been fantastic. Our HR folks, namely Kate Laycock, who interacts with our employees most often, he's just doing a marvelous job at accommodating them and working them through the process when they have concern. And so I think that was mostly my update for today, my superintendent's report. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that you had on any of those items. If you have.
Okay. Questions, comments from board members? I've just got one question. It seems to be out on the street that a lot of the LEAs are not prepared for their school openings on the PPE. And then as I've checked with just about every district that I run into and communicate with, they say, yes, we're good to go. I guess the question for you, Superintendent, is do you have enough of your PPEs in place for your opening, and that, or is that of a concern to you right now? And if it is of a concern, when should we be addressing?
No, I think we are prepared, or at least the orders are on the way, and they will be here before we start. We've ordered additional PPE for our nursing staff, who works, of course, closely with a lot of kids, more so than the teachers. The teachers will generally be able to social distance, especially in their classrooms. And we have ordered masks for the students and the adults, and we have a lot of those coming in. And then we have backup in case they forget those. The hand sanitizer and the signage we just approved this week, and it's being printed as we speak for the buildings to make instruction simple and clear around the building, the reminders. Hand sanitizer, we're ordering extra. We don't know how quickly we'll run out, but even if we already have a lot, but we want to make sure every single classroom has one, in addition to the common areas. And so I think we're in pretty good shape with that. I know we've just ordered some additional plexiglass shields. We identified a few additional areas where they might be appropriate for certain related servers and others. The last item is, just last night I heard about one related server that's going to a district that requires face masks and shields. And so we're interacting with that district and trying to help them understand that if our one-on-one work with a student requires them to see their face or so forth, we are going to need permission to maybe sit 6 feet apart and take those off instead of being closer to the student and having them on. But, just little details like that I think they will continue to trickle in, but generally I think we're very prepared as far as PPE and supplies go.
Okay. So if there's anything that we can do on our end, on procurement or whatever it might be, to make sure we have ample supply and inventory, please feel free to let us know, and we'll jump on it. That's one of the biggest questions that I'm getting from parents is not in your school, but in other schools, is the PPE side. Is there enough? Will there be enough? And it seems like there's there to start. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments from board members? I'm looking for hands. Brian Reasonberry, is your hand up for a reason?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to underscore what Superintendent Coleman just mentioned about the 6 due process complaints. I think that's significant. And the board may be familiar with how that works, but you have these independent folks that come in and adjudicate the complaints, and often from out of state. And they're unbiased. They have no agenda, and they thoroughly review the complaints. They investigate. And then they come up with a conclusion. And here each time the conclusions and the findings were in favor of the SDB. And so I found that very appropriate, and I think Superintendent Coleman's word was vindicating, and I think it was, and it goes to show the good work that they're doing there. So I just wanted to underscore that as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? I'm seeing none. So Superintendent Coleman, hope for the very best, and express our appreciation for you and your staff and all your educators in preparing to open your school and serve our deaf and blind students. So thank you for your work.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good luck to all of you as well.